Can't have a freaking bomb shelter without a torture room, right? God, what is this place? The source of the horrible smell was suddenly clear. The room was absolutely drenched from wall to wall, ceiling to floor, with blood and human viscera. How many gallons of blood must have been there to coat this entire room? And the worst part is, none of it was dry. It was all wet, and it was all fresh. There was indistinguishable chunks of flesh and bone everywhere. Just what kind of twisted things was this room being used for? Huh? I scratched my itching thigh again with my finger and looked down at my legs, and all at once, blood ran cold. A swarm of little white bugs was wriggling around on both my legs. That's what I squished between my finger, but there were many, many more. And they were also in my skirt and in my socks and even in my shoes. Ah! I fell into a state of total panic. I threw up my shoes and began frantically brushing myself off with my arms. I grabbed the hem of my skirt and collars of my socks and shook the hell out of them too, trying to knock off as many bugs off my body as I possibly could. Ah! Ah! Stumbling around, I accidentally planted the heel of my sock into a murky puddle of red liquid. My mind went blank with disgust. Gross, 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 gross. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. Pant, grease. I can't take this anymore. Calm down, Sayaka. This was just a slaughterhouse. It was just a place where livestock was chopped up into meat. It was perfectly natural. There is nothing unusual about this room at all. The blood, the chunks of flesh and bone probably are all just from animals. Alright, so now that we're here, it says to look at the buckets. Okay, there are buckets. Let's try this one. Filthy buckets littered the room. Each one was stuffed with reddish black globs and meat in quivering yellow-white liquid. In most of them, femur-like bones adorned the surface, but one of them seemed to be far more horrid stew than the others. And that was because one of them was full of arms, human arms, several of them jutting out of the bucket lip and practically waving at passerbyers. Screams are strange beasts. Screams are strange beasts because they basically override all sense of logic and reason within a person's mind. Quite naturally, quite automatically, in my shock, a scream forced its way out of my body from the very pit of my stomach. My sense had become razor sharp. I could faintly hear footsteps approaching from the hall outside the room. My stomach tightened, stopping the next scream in my stomach. I was sure of it. In the corridor just outside this room, someone or something was coming this way, and judging by the sound, it wasn't Naho. Alright, before we catch on, I don't want to get tricked into like some kind of time thing, so let's figure out what we have to do. Enter any of the buckets within. Once a choice appears, choose inside the cabinet. Alright, let's do it. Whimper! Another scream threatened to slip out. I quickly stifled it, and the last thing I needed to do was give away my position. Whoever it was getting closer and closer. I had to act. The hallway outside was just getting straight shots, so escaping the room without being seen wasn't an option. Hiding was my only hope. But hiding where? Under the blood-soaked table? Inside the cabinet, here we go. Whimper. The footsteps were approaching fast. I ran over to the large cabinet in the other side of the room. Please open. I bet there's bodies in there. The doors opened without difficulty, but they were the sort of automatically closed when left unattended. Oh well, no time for second guessing now. I turned around and jammed myself first into the closet, grabbing the edges of the closing door with my fingers and pulling them with all my worth. Shrinking my body into a cramped closet, I prayed silently for the footsteps to pass by this room. But then the person making the footsteps was probably the same person who turned on the lights in here, so I didn't honestly hold out much hope. Rapidly, my thoughts grew darker. Worst-case scenarios began flashing through my mind, one after another. I grasped my quivering mouth and violently shaking shoulders in vain attempt to calm myself down. I clenched my eyes shut and willed myself to swallow any sounds that may otherwise have leaked out. Now, please help me. I peeked through the gap of the door, and my fears were confirmed. I was no longer alone in this room. Fuck, you never ever look through cracks. A giant man. Also, that was the janitor. You guys, in the first game, the janitor was like possessed by a little girl, the Sachiko, and he was the one that killed everything. The timing that was in here with me was horrible. That's the thing. Sorry, I can't read. He seemed not quite human, but not really anything else either. And whatever he was, I was scared to death of him. On second thought, maybe he was human. He just had a grotesque face and an abnormally large body, not to mention a zombie-like disposition. He was horrifying. He had a limp body of a girl tossed over his shoulder. He walked over to the blood-covered table at the center of the room and violently threw her down onto it. Oh, that's that girl. That's the girl from the last chapter. So she was in that room. Wow, she was getting chopped up, and outside that door was the other girl that was trying to save her. It hurts. That was the girl that was like strangled, or that was like getting choked up by hair in the pool room. It hurts. Her legs had been severed at the thigh, like completely cut off. How could anyone do something like that? Oh, yeah, it's Janitor. No! The man straddled the girl and tied both her arms into the metal restraints attached to the table. No. What was he planning to do to her? Whimpering. He's coming this way. No, please no. The man passed right by his standing closet, instead of turning his attention toward the nearby corner of the room where it began rumbling through a toolbox. He was utterly careless about it, tossing aside any tools he did need. Hammers and drills were clanging on the ground with some sliding under the table. Each time a tool fell, he'd bend over and scoop it up. If it had been hidden under the table, it absolutely would have been found just like that, just now. Before long, he pulled out a large pair of pliers, returning to the girl's side. He once again stepped onto the table and straddled her body. What the fuck? What is he gonna do with those exactly? Wordlessly, the enormous beast clamped down the squirming girl's cheek and squeezed with all his might. Ugh! Then, as far as I was able to determine from the vantage point, he forced her mouth open and shoved the pliers inside. He readjusted his grip on the handle, then skillfully began opening the two metal prongs while simultaneously pushing them down her throat. Oh god, stop! Finally, grasping the girl's tongue with her pliers, the man suddenly yanked his arm upward with one single powerful movement, tearing up from her mouth. Oh god. I hear the sound of her mouth frothing over, and after a moment of squirming, all her movements ceased completely. That's when I lost it. Tears were streaming down my face, and I began peeing myself uncontrollably. Urine was pooling along the bottom of the cabinet. Stop! I frantically contracted my stomach, forcing myself to stop peeing, but if any of it leaked out from here and gave my position away, I'd be a goner for sure. My stomach immediately fought this sudden denial with its painful cramp. Please, don't do this now. The man tossed his severed tongue into an aluminum bucket at his feet and then roughly threw the pliers back into the toolbox with an ear-splitting clatter. He grabbed the bucket containing the tongue and slowly disappeared from the room. Whew! Someone had just died out there. I was still in shock. What I'd seen had utterly scared the piss out of me, and I didn't ever actually happen. I didn't think that ever actually happened. Let me check the time real quick. We are at 16 minutes. Okay, we gotta keep on going. I had to get out of this room. If I stayed here until he came back, if he found out my hiding place, I could easily be the next one to die at that table. Slowly and shakingly, I opened the cabinet doors and re-emerged. Fucking bitch, I didn't want to see that. The girl was still as a board. She almost looked alive. Albeit gravely wounded, but her mannequin-like lack of motion whatsoever said it all. I was scared at the fresh corpse, and just felt so many conflicting emotions welling up inside me. I stared at the fresh corpse and just felt so many... Alright, I said that already. I exited the room, fighting back more screams from the pit of my stomach that seemed instant from coming out. No. What is this place? If I'm dreaming, someone wake me up, please. But I knew it wasn't a dream. I accepted that this place was real, even though I differed greatly from any reality I'd ever known before. My brain was quickly nearing its breaking point. A stupefied fog clouded my mind's circuits. Naho, help me, please. Shit's about to get real. Days passed in this sweltering, isolated bunker. I couldn't even say how many. My cell phone battery ran out after a while, and my watch died too. I was lost, completely, but I never stopped looking for Naho. I hadn't eaten anything. I hadn't drunk anything. And I'd slept so many times, I couldn't even begin to estimate how long I'd been trapped there. The chocolate my mom gave me was still in my pocket, but I couldn't bring myself to eat it. I felt like it represented an important bond between me and her. So here comes the giant man. Our friendship will last forever. It will never die. Ugh. Naho. Save me, please! Alright, so... got Sayaka. Ooh. This sucks. Sachiko. Ho 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 ho, yummy! What a bitch. Purgatory! That's the end of this, guys! That's the end of chapter 4. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later.